जय कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज विहारी गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज विहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय यशोदानंदन जय ब्रजरंजन जय यशोदानंदन जय ब्रजरंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय हो राधा मदन मोहन राधे जय हो राधा गोपी वल्लभ राधे जय हो राधा गोवर्धन धारी राधे जय हो राधा दामोदर राधे जय हो राधा गोपीनाथ राधे जय हो राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे जय हो राधा गोविंद राधे जय हो राधा माधव राधे जयो राधे जयो राधे जयो श्री राधे जयो कृष्णा जयो कृष्णा जयो श्री कृष्णा जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पथगामी भाव तुम्हें जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पथगामी भाव तुम्हें निताई गौरांगो गौर हरि जय सच्चिनंदन गौर हरि पतित पावाना गौर हरि जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव नित्य गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल। श्रील गुरुदेव की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. So we will start with the prayers. Just a moment, I'll open the prayers. So today we will discuss on chapter 9th of Canto 4, where the topic is Dhruv Maharaj comes back home after he has taken darshan of the Supreme Lord. And in this chapter, he's offering wonderful prayers. So we'll discuss those prayers today. So we'll discuss the prayers in details. And that is what be the main focus. We'll not complete the chapter today, but we will just look at the prayers offered by Dhruv Maharaj to the Supreme Lord. Okay. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पदान् सहगना ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्तुति देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे। प्लीज रिपीट आफ्टर मी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम
ओम
नमो
नमो
भगवते
भगवते
देवाय।
वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम
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 नमो
नमो
भगवते
भगवते
देवाय।
वासुदेवाय।
नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमः पंकजनाभाय नमः पंकजमालिने नमः पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजांग्रहे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। नमो ब्राह्मण्याय देवाय गौ ब्राह्मण हिताय च जगद्धिताय कृष्णाय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। नमा ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांता स्वामीति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, Prabhujis and Matajis. My Dandavat Pranam to each one of you. Uh,
Hare
so,
Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat.
Dandavat Pranam, Mataji. Dandavat Pranam. So, as I said, we will just a minute. We'll talk about chapter 9th today. So, before going to chapter 9, just we'll quickly recap what happened in chapter 8. So again, this this Canto 4, chapter 8, and in this we are talking about Dhruv Maharaj. So this chapters from 8 to 12 and describe the pastimes of Dhruv Maharaj and the character and lifetime of Dhruv Maharaj. So there are many lessons to be learned from these chapters, and so we have finished chapter 8. We did this chapter 8 in 3 sessions. So we'll do a very quick recap of what happened in chapter 8, and then we'll continue in chapter 9. So basically this conversation is happening between Maitreya and Vidura, and Maitreya Rishi is describing this pastime of Dhruva Maharaj. And so Maitreya Rishi talks about Swayambhu Manu, and he having two sons, Priyavarta and Uttanapad, and Uttanapad having two wives, Suniti and Surichi, and he having two sons, Uttama and Dhruva. So and one day in the court of the king, Dhruv Maharaj is basically Uttama is sitting on the lap of Uttanapad, and Dhruv Maharaj comes in, and he also wants to sit on the lap of his father, but Surichi, the stepmother of Dhruv Maharaj, uh, becomes angry at this with envy and false ego, and she basically chastises Dhruv Maharaj, saying that since you are not born from my womb, you cannot sit on the lap of your father. And Dhruv Maharaj is very much perturbed by this. He becomes very angry, especially when his father does not say anything. Basically, he is the king, and the king's responsibility is to treat every citizen equally. Now, in this case, uh, Uttanapad Maharaj is not even treating his two sons equally. So he becomes very angry, and with that anger, he goes back to his mother. Now, during this time, I mean, Suniti comes to know what has happened with his son, and she also is very morose. But she's a great devotee of the Lord, and hence the discussion which she has with her son about what should be done is very instructive. She basically talks about three things: that one should not envy others even if they have hurt us, and what your mother Surichi is saying is absolutely correct, that you should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, uh, and and uh, and then you can rise to the throne of the king. So she basically instruct what she does is she first of all makes sure that Dhruv Maharaj does not have that I would say envy and in his heart for others. So she instructs Dhruv Maharaj about it, that you should not have envy about others even if they have hurt you. Uh, so and then she tells her Dhruv Maharaj to go to the forest and worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Dhruv Maharaj, wanting to do that, he starts to go to the forest. Now, while going to the forest, he meets Narad Muni. Now, Narad Muni, Narad Muni knows why he's going to the forest, and so Narad Muni just tests Dhruv Maharaj, and what he says is that you should not go to the forest. You are just a 5-year-old boy. You should just play and enjoy. And he tries to convince Dhruv Maharaj not to go to the forest, and tells him that whatever happens is by the providence of the Supreme Lord, and just like happiness and distress are like seasons, like similar to what uh, Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So uh, Narad Muni tries to instruct Dhruv Maharaj to not to go to the forest, but Dhruv Maharaj, being very determined, and he being a Kshatriya, tells um, Narad Muni that I am very much hurt and I want to take revenge. I am a Kshatriya, and my blood is boiling and I want to go to the forest. Please the Supreme Lord, and I want to have a kingdom greater than, or I want to achieve something which has not been achieved by even Lord Brahma. So I want a kingdom greater than my grandfather, basically. So that's what he tells Narad Muni. And Narad Muni, after hearing this, he does not get angry with Dhruv Maharaj, but what he sees is, he sees two things. Like, he sees the determination of Dhruv Maharaj, though he's going for material benedictions, but he keeps that aside, and just looks at the determination and his will to serve or to do devotional service. And then based on that, he instructs Dhruv Maharaj to, he talks about the process to achieve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and then he gives him that mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and tells him to prepare a small idol, or a small form of the Supreme Lord, and with mud and earth, with earth and water, and then start performing devotional service to it. He instructs him to offer fruits and whatever is available in the forest. So basically, he tries to instruct Dhruv Maharaj to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead based on time, place, and circumstances. So similarly for us also, this is an instruction. If we have a very opulent place, we should serve the Supreme Lord very opulently. But if we do not have it, whatever we have, we should serve the Supreme Lord. Even if you are living in a small hut, you can serve the Supreme Lord. Even if you are living in a very big palace, you can serve the Supreme Lord according to what is available to you. And based on that, Dhruv Maharaj starts doing those penances. He becomes extremely fixed up in his devotional service and doing Ashtanga yoga. So during the first month, he is eating only fruits and whatever is available in the forest every 3 days. Then he eats grass every 6 days. Then water every 9 days in the third month, and then finally only air in the fourth month, and that to every 12 days. So he's extremely fixed up, and since he has captured the Supreme Lord in his heart, he becomes very heavy and he pushes the earth down. And when the earth is pushed a little down, there is the demigods and other inhabitants. And since he has controlled his breathing, he basically chokes up the universe, and there is a problem in the universe. So the demigods, they go and take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and ask him what to be done. So the Supreme Lord basically tells them that this is all done by my devotee Dhruv Maharaj, and I'm now going to go and basically bless him, and this will all stop. So this is where the chapter 8 ends, and now we will go into chapter 9. Uh, So the important thing in chapter 9 is the prayers of Dhruv Maharaj, and this being Ekadashi day, will spend time to read those prayers. We'll even read word by word translations. We'll read the purports. We'll read the translation. Everything. So let's start with that. So the chapter 9 is basically Dhruv Maharaj returns home. So for these for the first few shlokas, we'll just read translation and purport, and then when the prayer start, we'll go into the synonyms and even the shloka. So translation for shloka 1. The great sage Maitreya told Vidura, when the demigods were thus reassured by the personality of Godhead, they were freed from all fears, and after offering their obeisances, they returned to their heavenly planets. Then the Lord, who is non-different from Saharishirasa incarnation, got on the back of Garuda, who carried him to the Madhuvana forest to see his servant Dhruva. So Dhruv Maharaj is performing his austerity in Madhuvana, which is on the banks of river Yamuna. I don't know if all of us had visited, but we had gone to this forest with Narhari Prabhuji when he took us to Vrindavan, and we had seen the temple there where there is a deity of Dhruv Maharaj as well. So I think that trip is really memorable. I still cannot forget that trip. That was really a very transforming trip for me. Actually, the visit to Vrindavan, that was the first time I actually went to Vrindavan, and it was an extra. And we went in Adhik Mas again. We are in Adhik Mas right now, and at that time also we had gone in Adhik Mas to visit Vrindavan, and we had visited the Madhuvan forest. So anybody would want to read the purport?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can I read?
Yeah, Prabhuji, please go ahead.
Yeah, purport. The word Sahasra Shira refers to the personality of God known as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Although the Lord appeared as the Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, he has been described as a Sahasra Shirsa Vishnu because he is not different from Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. According to the Sri Rupa Goswami, in his Laghu Bhagavatamrita, the Sahasra Shirsa personality of Godhead who appeared at that time was incarnation known as the what is it?
Prishnigarbha.
Prishnigarbha. He created the planet known as Dhruvaloka for the habitation of Dhruva Maharaja.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhuji. So we know that three forms of Lord Vishnu, right? Shirodakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and Karanodakshaya Vishnu, right? So here we are talking about these two forms of the Lord, Shirodakshaya and Garbhodakshaya, and then there is Karanodakshaya Vishnu, right? And I hope we know what each of them does, right? One of the forms of Vishnu is present within us as Paramatma, and one of them is lying on the causal ocean, right? And one of that is Mahavishnu, right? So that is what is described here about the different forms of Lord Vishnu, right? Let's move on. Shloka 2, translation. The form of the Lord, which was brilliant like lightning, and in which Dhruv Maharaj in his mature yogic process was fully absorbed in meditation, all of a sudden disappeared. Thus Dhruva was perturbed and his meditation broke. But as soon as he opened his eyes, he saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead personally present. Just he has been seeing the Lord in his heart. Okay, so the Lord has now appeared in front of Dhruv Maharaj, and the as I said, right, Dhruv Maharaj had captured the Lord in his heart, and he was able to see the Lord in his meditation. All of a sudden, that form of the Lord disappeared, and that's where his meditation broke. And when he opened the eyes, he saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead present in front of him. Okay, so anybody would like to read the purport? I'll read it. Because of his mature position in yogic meditation, Dhruv Maharaj was constantly observing the form of the Lord, the form of the personality of Godhead within his heart. But all of a sudden, when the Supreme Personality disappeared from his heart, he thought that he had lost him. Dhruv Maharaj was perturbed, but upon opening his eyes and breaking his meditation, he saw the same form of the Lord before him. In the Brahma Samhita 5.38, it is said, Premangjana Churita Bhakti Vilochena. A saintly person who has developed love of Godhead by devotional service always sees the Lord's transcendental form of Sham Sundara. This Sham Sundara form of the Lord within the heart of a devotee is not imaginary. When a devotee becomes mature in his prosecution of devotional service, he sees face to face the same Sham Sundara he has thought of during the entire course of his devotional service. Since the Supreme Lord is absolute, the form within the heart of a devotee, the form in the temple, and the original form in Vaikuntha, Vrindavana Dhama are all the same. They are non-different from one another. Right? This is a very, very important thing. Like sometimes we get attracted to a particular form of the Lord, and that form of the Lord is very, very dear to the devotee. For example, some people are very devoted to Narsingadev. Some people are very devoted to Lord Ramchandra. Some people are very devoted to Radha and Krishna. So whatever form of the Lord we are devoted and we think about during our devotional service, that form of the Lord, I mean, that's what we see everywhere. Somebody is very devoted to Jagannath ji. So and what Prabhupada is saying, that form in the temple, that form in Vaikuntha, Vrindavan are all are same, and they are non-different. It's basically the Lord has expanded himself in so many forms to please the devotees, and that's why if you see in our dharma, we have so many incarnations of the Lord. It's because the devotees have asked the Lord to come in that form, right? Like Prahlad Maharaj, I mean, to fulfill the vows which Brahma had done, and to please Prahlad Maharaj, the Lord took a particular form of Narsingh. Similarly, but the dearmost form, which the Lord likes, is his two-handed form, and that's what he also says in Bhagavad Gita, that this form of me which you are seeing, Arjuna, is the most I would say, it is very rare to see me in this form, the two-handed form. And Lord Ramchandra, Lord Krishna, they appeared in that two-handed form. So and all these forms of the Lord are non-different, and that's what is mentioned here. Okay, so let's move on. Shloka 3 translation. When Dhruv Maharaj saw his Lord just in front of him, he was greatly agitated and offered him obeisances and respect. He fell flat before him like a rod and became absorbed in the love of Godhead. Dhruv Maharaj in ecstasy looked upon the Lord as if he were drinking the Lord with his eyes, kissing the lotus feet of the Lord with his mouth, and embracing the Lord with his arm. So Dhruv Maharaj is now having the darshan of the Lord, and he is very, very happy, and he is actually looking at the form of the Lord and absorbing that form of the Lord, right? Became absorbed in the love of the Godhead. So let's read the purport. Anybody?
Hare Krishna, Shreegoal
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, Dandavat
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna, Giriraj Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam to
I
you.
hope you all doing well. Dandavat Pranam.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Let me read, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Naturally, when Dhruva Maharaj personally saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face, he was very much agitated in awe and respect. And it appeared as if he were drinking the entire body of the Lord with his eyes. The devotee's love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead is so intense that he wants to kiss the lotus feet of the Lord constantly, and he wants to touch the tips of the toes of the Lord and constantly embrace his lotus feet. All these features of Dhruva Maharaja's bodily expression indicate that upon seeing the Lord face to face, he developed the 8 kinds of transcendental ecstasy in his body. That we say Ashtasattvika Vikara Prabhu,
Correct.
trembling, perspiration, those are things.
Correct, Prabhuji. As
tears from the eyes. Yeah, you can
yes.
explain, Prabhu. Thank you very
Yeah. No, Prabhuji, please go ahead. You are no problem.
much. Nothing.
So it
And
is also
this one,
mentioned.
Prabhu. Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. Go
This
ahead.
one we say. Dandavat Pranam we say, right? To Dandavat Pranam. This is
Yeah,
what Danda means rod. Now,
correct.
Vat Pranam means just like he fell flat before him like a rod and became absorbed in love. That's where we say Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam means we have to think that same completely rod like Dandavat devotees, Dandavat to all the devotees like that. Thank you, Prabhu. Please continue. Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
thank you. So it's also mentioned in Shishtastakam, right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is talking about those ecstasies he has having, right? Vadanam Rudra, I mean, he's talking about tears flowing, hair
Nayanam
standing.
Galadashra.
Yeah,
Nayanam
Nayanam Galadashrudharaya. So he's talking about that in the Shishtastakam, right? So this is so he's talking about that, and so this 8 kinds of transcendental ecstasies which happen in the body of a devotee when he is I mean, when he's having the darshan of the Lord, and so advanced devotees actually have this. You can see those symptoms in their body, and we cannot make this up. We cannot fake this, and we should not do this faking this. But the advanced devotees definitely have those symptoms. Okay, so let's move. Shloka 4. Although Dhruv Maharaj was a small boy, he wanted to offer prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in suitable language. But because he was inexperienced, he could not adjust himself immediately. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, being situated in everyone's heart, could understand Dhruv Maharaj's awkward position. Out of his causeless mercy, he touched his conch shell to the forehead of Dhruv Maharaj, who stood before him with folded hands. So here, Dhruv Maharaj wanted to offer prayers. See, Dhruv Maharaj is only a 5-year-old boy. He has not gone to any school, or he has not learned anything. He has not started his education also, but he's now having the darshan of the Lord, and he wanted to offer prayers. So the Lord being situated in his heart, he could understand that the position of Dhruv Maharaj, and hence he granted him all the Vedic knowledge by just touching the conch shell on his forehead, right? So the Lord is having the four-handed form of the Lord, right? He's having the conch shell, he's having the lotus flower, he's having that wheel and the club, right, in his hand. So he touched the forehead of Dhruv Maharaj with his conch shell, right? So let's read the purport. Anybody?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Every devotee wants to chant the transcendental qualities of the Lord. Devotees are always interested in hearing about the Lord's transcendental qualities, and they are always eager to glorify these qualities, but sometimes they feel inconvenienced by humbleness. The personality of Godhead, being situated in everyone's heart, specifically gives a devotee intelligence to describe him. It is therefore understood that when a devotee writes or speaks about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his words are dictated by the Lord from within. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter. To those who constantly engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord from within dictates what to do next in order to serve him. And
Continue, Mataji. Yeah.
Yes. When Dhruva Maharaj felt hesitant, not knowing how to describe the Lord for want of sufficient experience, the Lord, out of his causeless mercy, touched his conch shell to Dhruva's forehead, and he was transcendentally inspired. This transcendental inspiration is called Brahmamaya, because when one is thus inspired, the sound he produces exactly corresponds to the sound vibration of the Vedas. This is not the ordinary sound vibration of this material world. Therefore, the sound vibration of the Hare Krishna mantra, although presented in the ordinary alphabet, should not be taken as mundane or material. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. So this is a very, very important point, right? The chanting which we are doing of the Hare Krishna mantra, this is not a mundane or material sound. This is the transcendental vibrations which are coming from Goloka Vrindavan. These are the Premadhan of Golok, right? Which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has provided us. So we should not think that this is ordinary. And another thing is this Brahma Maya, right? Because the inspiration which the Lord is, the knowledge which the Lord gives Dhruva Maharaj is all about the Vedas, and these are not ordinary sound vibrations, but they are sound vibrations of the Vedas. So just like the Lord gave this knowledge to Brahma, the Lord has given this knowledge to Dhruva Maharaj by touching the conch shell on his head. And anybody remembers this shloka to those who constantly engage in transcendental loving service? What is this shloka about?
Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam prita
Purvakam. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. So that is the shloka, and where the Lord says that I tell them how to serve. I mean, those who are engaged in the loving service, the Lord guides them and helps them to come to Him, right? So that is what is described here, right? Let's move on. At that time, so this is shloka 5. Translation: at that time, Dhruva Maharaj became perfectly aware of the Vedic conclusion and understood the absolute truth and his relationship with all living entities. In accordance with the line of devotional service to the Supreme Lord, whose fame is widespread, Dhruva, who in the future would receive a planet which would never be annihilated, even during the time of dissolution, offered his deliberate and conclusive prayers. So now Dhruva Maharaj will offer the prayers to the Supreme Lord. So from the next shloka, he will utter those prayers. The important thing is that he became perfectly aware of the Vedic conclusion and understood the absolute truth and his relationship with all living entities. So let's read the purport. This purport is very, very nice. Let's read it. Anybody would want to read the first paragraph?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu.
There are many important items to be considered in this verse. First of all, the relationship between the absolute truth and the relative material and spiritual energies is here understood by a student who has complete knowledge of the Vedic literature. Dhruva Maharaja never went to any school or academic teacher to learn the Vedic conclusion, but because of his devotional service to the Lord, as soon as the Lord appeared and touched his forehead with his conch shell, automatically the entire Vedic conclusion was revealed to him. That is the process of understanding Vedic literature. One cannot understand it simply by academic learning. The Vedas indicate that only to one who has unflinching faith in the Supreme Lord as well as in the spiritual master is the Vedic conclusion revealed. Can I continue, Prabhu?
Yeah, please continue.
The example of Dhruva Maharaja is that he engaged himself in devotional service to the Lord according to the order of his spiritual master, Narada Muni. As a result of his rendering such devotional service with great determination and austerity, the personality of Godhead personally manifested himself before him. Dhruva was only a child. He wanted to offer nice prayers to the Lord, but because he lacked sufficient knowledge, he hesitated. But by the mercy of the Lord, as soon as the Lord's conch shell touched his forehead, he became completely aware of the Vedic conclusion. That conclusion is based on proper understanding of the difference between Jiva and Paramatma, the individual soul and the super soul. The individual soul is forever is a servant of the super soul. And therefore, his relationship with the super soul is to offer service. That is called Bhakti Yoga or Bhakti Bhava. Dhruva Maharaja offered his prayers to the Lord not in the way of the impersonalist philosophers, but as a devotee. Therefore, it is clearly said here, Bhakti Bhava, the only prayers worth offering are those offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose reputation is spread far and wide. Dhruva Maharaja wanted to have the kingdom of his father, but his father refused even to allow him to get on his lap. In order to fulfill his desire, the Lord has already created a planet known as Pole Star, Dhruva Loka, which was never to be annihilated even at the time of the dissolution of the universe. Dhruva Maharaja attained his perfection not by acting hastily, but by patiently executing the order of his spiritual master. And therefore, he became so successful that he saw the Lord face to face. Now, he was further enabled by the causeless mercy of the Lord to offer fitting prayers to the Lord, to glorify or offer prayers unto Supreme. One needs the Supreme Lord's mercy. One cannot write to glorify the Lord unless one is endowed with his causeless mercy.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
This purport, I mean, if you read this purport, this is the, I mean, I would say, fundamental philosophy which we follow, right? I mean, this is what the statement, the individual soul is forever a servant of the super soul, and therefore his relationship with the super soul is to offer service. This is what is our principle. This is what is Bhakti Yoga, right? That we have to render service, uninterrupted and unmotivated service to the Supreme Lord, right? That is the process. And if you look at it, right, this is even the power of bhakti. If you look at Dhruva Maharaj, I mean, started the worship of the Supreme Lord with some material desires, right? He wanted to attain a kingdom, but as we'll see going forward, that he no longer has any interest to actually rule that, or he did not have any interest in that kingdom. And we'll see what happens further, where he himself says that, I mean, I have asked for some material benedictions, and I mean, I have a diamond in front of me and I was looking for pieces of glasses. So he will say all that. So that's the power of bhakti. And the important thing here also is that we should not act hastily, right? That this is what Prabhupada is saying, but execute the orders of the spiritual master. I mean, if we should have complete faith on our spiritual master and act according to what he's saying. It should not be that we should whimsically try to do things in bhakti. That is also very, very important. And since Dhruva Maharaj, he could attain perfection only because he accepted what Narad Muni said and did exactly what Narad Muni told him, and that's why he could attain this perfection, and he could also get the mercy of the Lord. And even though he was, I mean, he was just a child and only 5 years old, he has got this knowledge and the darshan of the Lord, which is not even attained by yogis who spend their lifetime after lifetime trying to meditate on the Lord. But Dhruva Maharaj achieved that result in 6 months, and that is because he did not act hastily, as mentioned, and also he executed the orders of his spiritual master to perfection. And that is also should be our aim, where we follow the orders of our spiritual master, right? So that is the important thing in bhakti, that follow the spiritual master and take that as our life and soul. Okay. Now this is where the prayers start, and we will now try to go into, we'll try to read the synonyms and also try to read the prayers as well. So let's read this. Dhruva uvacha yo ananta pravishya mama vacham imam prasuptam sanjivataya akhila shakti dhara swadhamana ananyascha hasta charana shravana tvag adin Pranam Namo Bhagavate Purushaya Tubhyam. So what we will do, I mean, we'll try to first read the synonyms and then go to the shloka. Probably that will be easier
Prabhuji,
for us.
can I recite Prabhuji once?
Sure, Prabhuji, please.
Dhruva vacha yonta pravisya mama vacham imam prasuptam sanjeevatya kila siddhara swadhamna anyam cha hasta charana swarana tvaga adin pranam namo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So
Yeah,
let's look at the synonyms also here. Dhruva Uvacha. Dhruva Maharaj said, Yaha, the Supreme Lord who, Anantaha, within, Pravishya, entering, Mama, my, Vacham, words, Imam, all these, right? Prasuptanam, uh, which are all inactive or dead. Sanjivayati, rejuvenates. Akhila, universal. Shakti, energy, right? Sanjivataya Akhila Shakti. Dharaha, possessing. Swadhamna, by his eternal potency. This word is very, very important. We'll discuss about this. Ananyacha, other limbs also. Ananyascha, hasta. Charana, legs. Shravana, ears. Tvak, skin. Adin, and so on. Right, so ananyascha hasta charana shravana tvag adin, pranam, life force, nama, let me offer my obeisances, bhagavate, onto the supreme personality of Godhead, purushaya, the supreme person, tubhyam, onto you, pranan namo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam. So this is the first prayers of Dhruv Maharaj. Let's read the translation. Dhruv Maharaj said, my dear Lord, you are all powerful. After entering within me, you have enlivened me. You have enlivened all my sleeping senses, my hands, legs, ears, touch sensation, life force, and especially my power of speech. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Bhagavate Purushaya Tubhyam, right? Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto you. So anybody would want to read the purport? Okay, I'll read.
No one there.
Sorry, go.
Read.
Go ahead, Prabhuji. Akinchanpuriya Prabhuji, go ahead.
Okay, bro. Hare Krishna. But Dhruva Maharaj could understand very easily the difference between his condition before and after attaining spiritual realization and seeing Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. He could understand that his life force and activities had been sleeping. Unless one comes to the spiritual platform, his bodily limbs, mind, and other facilities within the body are understood to be sleeping. Unless one spiritually situated, all his activities are taken as a dead man's activities are ghostly activities. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur has composed a song in which he addressed himself, O living entity, get up. How long shall you sleep on the lap of Maya? Now you have the opportunity of possessing a human form of the body. Now try to get up and realize yourself. The Vedas also declare, get up, get up. You have the opportunity, the boon of human form of the life. Now realize yourself. These are the Vedic injunctions. Dhruv Maharaj actually experienced that upon enlightenment of his senses on the spiritual platform, he could understand the essence of Vedic instruction that the Supreme Godhead is the Supreme Person, he not impersonal. Dhruv Maharaj could immediately understand this fact. He was aware that for a very long time he was practically sleeping and felt the impetus to glorify the Lord according to the Vedic conclusion. A mundane person cannot offer any prayer or glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he has no realization of Vedic conclusion. Therefore, when the Dhruva Maharaj found this difference within himself, he could immediately understand that. Sorry, bro, screen has gone. Hare Krishna, I could not see your screen.
I think Prabhu got disconnected. So just give a minute.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, sorry, I lost power. I'll reshare my screen.
Oh.
That's okay, Prabhuji. So did we read this or?
No, it was not complete, Prabhu.
We
Okay.
are almost completing that.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
Prabhu, last para.
Yeah, go ahead, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, within revelation of no, Prabhuji. No, but one prayer. We have to go.
Yeah, therefore when this one?
Therefore, yes.
Yeah,
Therefore, when Dhruva Maharaj found this difference within himself, he could immediately understand that it was because of the causeless mercy of the Lord. He offered obeisances to the Lord with great respect and reverence, completely understanding that the Lord was upon him. Lord's favor was upon him. The spiritual enlightenment of Dhruva Maharaj's senses and the mind was due to the action of internal potency of the Lord. In these verse, therefore, the word Svadhama means by spiritual energy. Spiritual enlightenment is possible by the mercy of spiritual energy of the Lord. The chanting of Hare Krishna mantra is first addressed to be spiritual energy of the Lord, Hare. This spiritual energy acts when the living entity fully surrenders and accepts his position of eternal servitor. When a person places himself at the disposal of or the order of Supreme Lord, that is called Sevomukhi. At the time of spiritual energy gradually reveals the Lord to him. Can I continue, bro? Without
Yeah, please.
revelation, Without revelation by the spiritual energy, one is unable to offer glorifying the Lord. Any amount of philosophical speculation or poetic expressions by mundane person is still considered to be action and reaction of the material energy. When one is actually enlivened by the spiritual energy, all his senses become purified and he engages only in the service of the Lord. At that time, his hands, legs, ears, tongue, mind, genitals, everything engage in the service of the Lord. Such enlightened devotee no longer has material activities, nor has he an interest in the being materially engaged.
Hare Krishna.
Process, this process of purifying the senses and engaging them in the service of the Lord is known as bhakti or devotional service. In the beginning, the senses are engaged by the direction of the spiritual master and Shastra. And after realization, when the same senses are purified, the engagement continues. The difference is that in the beginning, the senses are engaged in a mechanical way, but after realization, they are engaged in spiritual understanding. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So there are some very important things here. Like what Dhruv Maharaj is saying here is that unless we are serving the Supreme Lord, right? I mean, he's saying that my hands, legs, ears, and they were all dead, and with your and you have enlivened me because you entered my heart, and when you do not, and when I was performing that spiritual activity, that is when my senses become enlivened, right? So if we are not performing spiritual activities, or we are not serving the Supreme Lord, our senses are actually dead. I mean, no matter how much we are trying to do things, though those have no meaning unless they are all spiritual activities. And that's what Prabhupada says, right? You have to if you are not doing things on the spiritual platform, then they are essentially dead. I mean, the senses are dead, right? And right, also this Swadhamna, right? This means the spiritual energy of the Lord. Say the material energy, which is So the people who are materialist, they get affected by the material energy of the Lord, which is illusion, Maya, and people who are the devotees of the Lord, the spiritual energy of the Lord acts on them, and by that spiritual enlightenment, they are able to serve the Lord. And we had done this Sevan Mukhe Jivvado, right? That shloka in Bhakti Shastri, and that's what is being spoken here, where when we surrender to the Supreme Lord, that's where our bhakti starts, right? So that is again the thing which is being mentioned. So let's move on. So next shloka. So again, we will do the synonyms and then try to read the shloka. Ekah, one, tvam, you, eva, certainly, Bhagavan, O my Lord, idam, the material world, Atma Shaktaya, by your potency. So ekastvam eva Bhagavan idam Atma Shaktaya, Maya Akhyaya, of the name Maya, Uru, greatly powerful, Gunaya, consisting of the modes of nature, Mahat Adi, the Mahat Tattva, etc. Asesham, unlimited. So the next second line is Maya Akhya Ru Gunaya Mahad Adya Asesham, right? Srishtva, after creating, Anu Vishya, then after entering, Purushaha, the super soul, Tat of Maya, Asat Guneshu, into the temporarily manifested qualities. So Shrishta Vanush Shrishtva Anusha Vishya, Purushas Tad Asat Guneshu, Nana, variously, Iva, as if, Darushu, into the pieces of wood, Vibhashuvat, just like fire, Vibhashi, you appear. Naneva Darushu, Vibhava Ashuvad, Vibhashi, right? So let's read the translation. My Lord, you are the Supreme One, but by your different energies, you appear differently in the spiritual and material worlds. You create the total energy of the material world by your external potency, and after creation, you enter within the material world as the super soul. You are the supreme person, and through the temporary modes of material nature, you create varieties of manifestation, just as fire entering into the wood of different shapes burns brilliantly in different varieties. So Dhruv Maharaj is basically talking about the different energies of the Lord, right? And by that energies you appear in the differently in spiritual and material worlds, right? And we had studied that everything starts from this Mahat Tattva, right? And how the different senses evolve, how everything manifests from this Mahat Tattva, and that's the Mahat Tattva Dhruv Maharaj is talking about here. The purport here again, Maya and Swadhama, right? So as I said, for devotees, the Swadhama acts, whereas in case of non-devotees, the Maya energy or the illusory energy of the Lord will act. So the Lord has external energy and the internal energy, the spiritual energy, and for devotees, it is always the spiritual energy of the Lord or the internal potency of the Lord which is acting. And for materialist or people who are in the three modes of nature, the Maya Shakti of the Lord is always acting, right? So that is the
Prabhuji,
second. Yeah.
Yeah. Can I read the shloka and the purport?
Sure, Prabhuji. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Can you scroll up?
Yeah.
So, Shreegoal Prabhu, just want to share one thing.
Yeah.
Shreegoal Prabhu, actually, in our daily reading calls, few months back, we all gone through these Dhruva Maharaj prayers, Prabhuji, with
Okay.
the help of Lalit Mohan Prabhu, and we got the how to recite. So that's where they got
Mhm.
taste in recitation. It's Sapan
Very good,
Prabhu,
Prabhuji.
Raju Prabhu, Samitra
Yeah.
Mataji, Ram Reddy Prabhu. You can utilize them. So better to you can use them for their
Sure, Prabhuji.
recitation for these
Sure.
Dhruva Maharaj
Sure.
prayers.
Sure,
Samitra
Prabhuji.
Mataji, Ram Reddy Prabhu, Raju Prabhu, Sapan Prabhu. we all did in our calls, Prabhuji.
Okay.
So that's where this Prabhu wanted to recite. You can
Yeah,
do,
yeah,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji, please. I will. We should recite. This is a very auspicious thing. Today is Ekadashi, and if we can recite, that's where we will not go anything beyond the prayers today.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Ekastvameva Bhagavan idamatma shaktya mayakyayorugunaya mahadadya shesham srishtvanuvishya purushas tadasadguneshu nane vadarashu vibhavasu vadvibhasi.
Want to read the translation again, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Or you read the purport, Prabhuji. I've already read the translation. You can read the purport.
Okay, Prabhuji. Dhruva Maharaj realized that the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, acts through his different energies, not that he becomes void or impersonal and thus becomes all pervading. The Mayavadi philosopher thinks that the absolute truth being spread throughout the cosmic manifestation has no personal form. But here, Dhruva Maharaj, upon realization of the Vedic conclusion, says, you are spread all over the cosmic manifestation by your energy. This energy is basically spiritual, but because it acts in the material world temporarily, it is called Maya or illusory energy. In other words, for everyone but the devotees, the Lord's energy acts as external energy. Dhruva Maharaj could understand this fact very nicely, and he could understand also that the energy and the energetic are one and the same. The energy cannot be separated from the energetic. The identity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the feature of Paramatma or Super Soul is admitted herein. His original spiritual energy enlivens the material energy, and thus the dead body appears to have life force. Widest philosophers think that under certain material conditions, the symptoms of life occur in the material body. But the fact is that the material body cannot act on its own. Even a machine needs separate energy, electricity, steam, etc. It is stated in this verse that the material energy acts in varieties of material bodies, but just as fire burns differently in different wood according to the size and quality of the wood, in case of devotees, the same energy is transformed into spiritual energy. This is possible because the energy is originally spiritual, not material. As it is said, Vishnu Shakti Paraprokta. The original energy inspires a devotee, and thus he engages all his bodily limbs in the service of the Lord. The same energy as external potency engages the ordinary devotees, non-devotees in material activities for sense enjoyment. We should mark the difference between Maya and Swadhama. For devotees, the Swadhama acts, whereas in case of non-devotees, the Maya energy acts. Yeah, thanks to Giriraj Prabhu and Lalit Mohan Prabhu for the training.
No, perfect, Prabhuji. You read it so well, Shloka. I think I need to learn from you. Very nice. Thank you. So we'll continue. So anybody would want to read this Shloka first? Anybody?
If no one is reading, I can read, Prabhuji.
Please read, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Vaddattaya vayunayedam achashta vishvam supta prabuddha ivanata bhavat prapanna tasyapavargya sharanam tava padamulam vismaryate kritavida katamartha bandho. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, can you read the synonyms as well?
Yes, Prabhuji. Tvaddasaya, given by you. Vayunaya, by knowledge. Idam, this. Achashta, could see. Vishwam, the whole universe. Supta Prabuddha, a man rising from sleep. Iva, like. Natha, O my Lord. Bhava Prapanna, Lord Brahma, who is surrendered unto you. Tasya, his. Apavargya, of persons desiring liberation. Sharanam, the shelter. Tava, your. Padamulam, lotus feet. Vismaryate, can be forgotten. Kritavida, by learned person. Katam, how. Artha Bandhu, O friend of the distressed. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So let's read the translation. O my master, Lord Brahma is fully surrendered unto you. In the beginning, you gave him knowledge, and thus he could see and understand the entire universe. Just as a person awakens from sleep and visualizes his immediate duties, you are the only shelter of all persons who desire liberation, and you are the friend of all who are distressed. How therefore can a learned person who has perfect knowledge ever forget you? Okay, so let's read the purport as well. Anybody?
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Yeah, please, Prabhuji.
Yeah, purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be forgotten even for a moment by his surrendered devotees. The devotee understands that Lord's causeless mercy is beyond his estimation. He cannot know how much he is benefited by the grace of the Lord. The more devotee engages himself in the devotional service of the Lord, the more encouragement is supplied by the energy of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that those who are constantly engaged in the devotional service with love and affection, the Supreme Personality of Godhead gives intelligence from within, and thus they make further progress. Being so encouraged, the devotee can never forget at any moment the personality of Godhead. He always feels obliged to him for achieved increased power in devotional service by his grace. Saintly persons like Sanaka, Sanatana, and Lord Brahma were able to see the entire universe by the mercy of the Lord through the knowledge of the Lord. The example is given that a person may apparently obtain from sleep all day, but as long as he is not spiritually enlightened, he is actually sleeping. He may sleep at night, perform his duties in the daytime, but as long as he does not come to the platform of working in spiritual engagement, enlightenment, he is considered to be the always sleeping. A devotee, therefore, never forgets the benefit derived from the Lord. The Lord is addressed here as a Artha Bandhu, which means friend of the desired distress. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, after many births of the executive severe austerities in a search of knowledge, one comes to the point of the real knowledge and becomes wise when one surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Mayavadi philosophers who does not surrender unto the Supreme Person is understood to be lacking in real knowledge. The devotee in perfect knowledge cannot forget his obligation to the Lord at any moment. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you. So you see here this Artha Bandhu is mentioned. So friend of the distress, like as Bhagwan, Lord Shri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita also, right? 4 kinds of people come to me, right? People who are behind knowledge, people who are behind money, right? People who are jignasu. So here people who are distressed, right? So the Lord is called as friend of the distressed, right? And I mean, this is a very famous shloka, right? Where Lord says that after many births, somebody comes to that perfect realization that Vasudeva Sarvaviti, right? That he surrenders onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So and we talked about this shloka also in Bhagavad Gita, that the Lord gives the intelligence to make further progress. So Dhruva Maharaj is saying that I was sleeping and now I have woken up. See, because why is Dhruva Maharaj saying this is because he came to the Lord for material benedictions, and now when he's got that Vedic knowledge, he's understanding that his position, that what was happening to him and what is his position now, and that's why he's saying that I have woken up and you have and I can see the entire universe, right? In the beginning you gave him knowledge, and similarly you have given me that knowledge, right? And you are the only shelter of all persons who desire liberation. So Dhruva Maharaj can understand the difference of his position before and after, and that's what he's offering prayers to the Supreme Lord. Okay, let's move on. Anybody again would want to recite?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji.
नूनं विमुष्टमतयस्तव माययाते ये त्वां भवाप्यय विमोक्षणमन्यहेतोः अच्छन्ति कल्पकरुतं कणपोपभोग्यम् इच्छन्ति यत्स्पर्शजं निरये अपिण्डम्
Nirepi nrinam.
Pranam. Okay,
Yeah.
Should I do translation or?
Yeah, please go ahead, Prabhuji.
Translation.
The person who worships you simply for the sense gratification of this bag of skin are certainly influenced by your illusory energy. In spite of having you, you are like a desire tree and are the cause of liberation from birth and death. Foolish person such as me desire benediction from you for sense gratification, which is available even for those who live in hellish conditions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So I'll just read the purport. It's a very small purport. Dhruva Maharaj repented because he had come to the Lord to render devotional service for material profit. He here condemns his attitude. Only due to gross lack of knowledge does one worship the Lord for material profit or for sense gratification. The Lord is like a desire tree. Anyone can have whatever he desires from the Lord, but people in general do not know what kind of benediction they should ask from him. Happiness derived from the touch of skin or sensuous happiness is present in the life of hogs and dogs. Such happiness is very insignificant. If a devotee worships the Lord for such insignificant happiness, he must be considered devoid of all knowledge. So again, repeating the same thing, Dhruva Maharaj could understand his position, that what he had come for and what he was trying to achieve by worshipping the Supreme Lord, right? He was trying to get a kingdom greater than Brahma, which he now understood after getting that knowledge that it is of no use, and it's just a temporary thing and of no use, the important thing is to serve the Supreme Lord. And again, this is what is the power of bhakti, right? Once you come into bhakti, all these things which we feel are very, very important, they become unimportant, and the only the thing which the devotee wants is to serve the Lord, serve the devotees of the Lord and serve the Lord himself. So that transformation which bhakti brings cannot be achieved by any other process. No matter what you try, bhakti is the one thing which will transform your heart, which will change your life, and that's what is the power of bhakti. And I think this section of Dhruva Maharaj is actually about that the power of bhakti, the transformation which happens in Dhruva Maharaj because he performed bhakti is what this is a learning from the life of Dhruva Maharaj. Because we have Prahlad Maharaj pastime as well, and Prahlad Maharaj was already an exalted devotee. So you can see that difference, right? If you do a little comparison here, so Dhruva Maharaj went to the Lord for some material benedictions, and now after gaining knowledge, the kind of prayers which Dhruva Maharaj is offering and the kind of prayers Prahlad Maharaj offered to the Supreme Lord. So that's what we can see here. Let's move on. Anybody would want to read this? Anybody would want to recite the shloka?
Yeah, I can, Prabhuji.
Yeah, please, Prabhuji. Thank you for helping me.
No, thank you for the opportunity, Prabhuji. Ya nivritisthanu-britam tava pada padma dhyanad bhavajana katha shravanena vasyat sa brahmani swamahimanya apinatama bhut kim tvantakashilulitat patatam vimanat. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please read the translation as well.
Okay. Yes, Prabhuji. Translation. My Lord, the transcendental bliss derived from meditating upon your lotus feet or hearing about your glories from pure devotees is so unlimited that it is far beyond the stage of Brahmananda, wherein one thinks himself merged in the impersonal Brahman or as one with the Supreme. Since Brahmananda is also defeated by the transcendental bliss derived from devotional service, then what to speak of the temporary blissfulness of elevating oneself to the heavenly planets, which is ended by separating sword of time. Although one may be elevated to the heavenly planets, he falls down in due course of time. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So here Dhruva Maharaj is, so what is Brahmananda? It is basically when one merges with the Supreme Lord in Brahman, in the impersonal Brahman. That is Brahmananda. Now, what Dhruva Maharaj is comparing is comparing Brahmananda with the devotional service, and he says that Brahmananda is insignificant from the bliss derived from devotional service. And then he does a third comparison where he says that then what is the temporary blissfulness which we get in the heavenly planet? Now, going to the heavenly planet is like, it's like sitting in an aeroplane which has some limited amount of fuel, and once the fuel gets over, it will fall down. So similarly, when we go to the heavenly planet, when our pious activities or the credit of our pious activities are become zero, we again fall down. So he's comparing that going to the heavenly planets with that aeroplane in which we sit and which has a limited amount of fuel or limited amount of time which it can fly, and then it falls down. So that's what Dhruv Maharaj is saying, that we get elevated to the heavenly planets and then we fall down in due course of time. And again, the bliss which we derive by merging into the Brahman is insignificant, is what Dhruv Maharaj is saying, from the bliss which we derive from doing devotional service to the Lord. And so again and again, Prabhupada is trying to bring out the glories of bhakti, devotional service. Right? Let's move on. Again, Prabhuji, you would want to read?
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Bhaktimmuhu pravatam vaime prasango bhuyadanantamatam amalaseyanam enanja shulbanam uruvesanam bhavabhi nese bhavat gunakatamritapanamatta.
Yeah, please read the translation, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Bhakti, devotional service, muhu, constantly, pravahatam, of those who perform, vai, unto you, me, my, prasanga, intimate association, bhuyat, make it become, ananta, oh unlimited, mahatam, of the great devotees, amalaseyanam, whose hearts are freed from material contamination, ena, by which, anjasa, easily, ulbanam, terrible, uru, great, yasanam, full of dangers, bhavabdhi, the ocean of material existence, nese, I shall cross, bhavat, your, guna, transcendental qualities, kata, pastime, amrita, nectar, eternal, pana, by drinking, mattaha, mad. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So I'll read the translation. Dhruv Maharaj continued, O unlimited Lord, kindly bless me so that I may associate with great devotees who engage in your transcendental loving service constantly, as the waves of a river constantly flow. Such transcendental devotees are completely situated in an uncontaminated state of life. By the process of devotional service, I shall surely be able to cross the nascent ocean of material existence, which is filled with the waves of blazing fire-like dangers. It will be very easy for me, for I am becoming mad to hear about your transcendental qualities and pastimes which are eternally existent. Hare Krishna. So again, this is what Dhruv Maharaj is now asking from the Lord. That I don't want a kingdom or anything. What I want is, I want to associate with great devotees of your devotees. I want to associate with your devotees. So this is what I mean, we say ABCD, right? The first thing is association. See, the bhakti starts with when you associate with devotees. So this association is very, very important. The bhakti process starts with association. And I mean, if you look at it, if you ask somebody who are the cream of the people of this world, so people might say, oh, people who are rich, people who have done something very significant, somebody who might be a great scientist, people might give you such kind of answers. But the real cream of this world are the devotees of the Lord. And by blessings of Srila Prabhupada, we have this, I mean, we get to associate with what I would say are the cream people of this universe, not just the world, the devotees of the Lord, right? We have this great society, ISKCON society, where we can associate with the devotees of the Lord, and we should never leave this association. I mean, it's very unfortunate when people leave this association for various reasons, and I would say the biggest strength which we have, I mean, this Gachibowli association, which I feel, I mean, is the biggest thing or the greatest wealth in what is that is present, which I have, and which each one of us have, that we have such great association in our satsang, where we can associate with great devotees of the Lord, devotees who are practicing and devotees who are making progress, and we can see what great things we can achieve when we are in association. I mean, it's so easy, right? Let's say today is Ekadashi, and if we want to chant 64 rounds, let's say, and if you try to do it alone, it will be very difficult. But in the association of devotees, it's just like very quickly, and you can very easily do this, right? So similarly, like that's what Dhruv Maharaj is saying, that in the association of your devotees, I can very easily cross this ocean, this nascent ocean of material existence, and reach your lotus feet. So we should also cherish this association, value this association, and make sure that we do not leave this association. And this is what Dhruv Maharaj is asking from the Lord, that please give me the association of your great devotees. Okay. Let's move on. I mean, the purport also talks about the same thing, that Prabhupada also mentions, that this ISKCON society, I mean, he's clearly saying that anyone who is trying to be aloof from this Krishna consciousness society and yet engage in Krishna consciousness is living in a great hallucination, for it is not possible. So bhakti can only be practiced with in the association of the devotees of the Lord. There are people who are very exalted, and they go to the forest and do their bhakti alone, but then we should not try to imitate, because we are not on their platform or on their level. For us, it's very clear that we have to associate with the devotees of the Lord, and then only we can make progress in our bhakti. Okay. Let's move on. Again, somebody would want to help me with reading this shloka.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Shall I
Hare
read?
Krishna. Yes, from Mataji, please.
Tena smaranti atitaram priyamishamartyam ye chanvadah sutta suhrud grahavitta daraha ye tvabjanabha bhavadiya padaravinda saugandhya lubdha hrudayeshu krita prasangaha. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Can you read the translation also?
Yes, Prabhuji. O Lord, who have a lotus navel, if a person happens to associate with a devotee whose heart always hankers after your lotus feet, seeking always their fragrance, he is never attached to the material body or in a bodily relationship to offspring, friends, home, wealth, and wife, which are very, very dear to materialistic persons. Indeed, he does not care for them. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So let's read the purport also. A special advantage in devotional service is that devotees not only enjoy the transcendental pastimes of the Lord by hearing and chanting and glorifying them, but also are not very much attached to their bodies, unlike the yogis who are too attached to the body and who think that by performing bodily gymnastic exercises, they will advance in spiritual consciousness. Yogis are generally not very much interested in devotional service. They want to regulate the breathing process. This is simply a bodily concern. Here, Dhruva Maharaj plainly says that a devotee has no more bodily interest. He knows that he is not the body. Therefore, from the very beginning, without wasting time in bodily exercises, a devotee searches out a pure devotee and simply by his association becomes more advanced in spiritual consciousness than any yogi. Because a devotee knows that he is not the body, he is never affected by bodily happiness or distress. He is not interested in bodily relationships with wife, children, home, bank balance, etc., or in distress and happiness which come from these things. This is the special advantage of being a devotee. This status of life is possible only when person is interested in associating with a pure devotee who always enjoys the fragrance of the lotus feet of the Lord. Now, this we must understand that we are not in this state, or we are not in this situation. We are still interested, or we are still attached. But slowly, with practicing bhakti, now being detached does not mean that we do not care for our wife, children, and home. it means that we are not basically we are not attached, right? When I say attached, it means that if something happens, I mean we do get distressed, or we do get the pain, and the understanding is that these are all gifts given by the Lord, and if we lose them, the Lord has taken away from us. And the consciousness is that since these things are given to us by the Lord, we have to take care of it properly, and make sure that we also take them along with our journey in bhakti. That is what is the understanding when Prabhupada is saying that he's not interested in relationships. We are all grahasthas, and grahasthas have to take care of their household activities, but we should not be attached. And when we say attached, it means that it should not be just for the purpose of sense enjoyment, but it should be used for as a vehicle for serving the Lord together. So all this, we can engage everybody in the service of the Lord, and we take them along with as in our journey towards the Supreme Lord. We basically inspire them, help them, and together we all do bhakti so that we can achieve the lotus feet of the Lord. Okay, so I think we can stop here. We'll continue tomorrow if that is okay. It's already 8:50 now, so we'll then tomorrow complete the prayers and also try to end the chapter. Is that okay, Prabhuji? Or
yes, Prabhu. So
yeah?
do you know whose class is tomorrow?
Again, I am going to take the class,
Then
Prabhuji.
again,
I'm extremely sorry, Prabhuji. I am not very well prepared for this. Praveen Prabhuji just told me yesterday, day before yesterday actually, about this. I'm not very much prepared. But probably for tomorrow's class, I'll prepare some. I mean, I did spend some time, but I was not very much prepared for this. So I'm extremely sorry for that. I'm just reading the purports. That's all. So please forgive me for that.
No, Prabhu. Let's say no. What we've done, this Bhagavatam is Bhagavatam. So yeah. So tomorrow, yes, Prabhu, we'll continue tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. We can definitely have some questions, reflections, and anybody would want to add, please do that. And please forgive me if I've spoken something which might have hurt you. And if you liked something, it's all Prabhupada's mercy, because we are reading his purports. And please do. I mean, the only thing which I would want to say is please take the association of the devotees very, very seriously. It is the greatest wealth which we have in our life, and it is the greatest benediction which we have now. So take this association very seriously, and be always remain in association of devotees. So anybody would want to add anything, any comments, any questions, any reflections, please go ahead. No? Okay, then Prabhuji, we can close the class. Thank you. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta koti Vaishnav vrinda ki jai. Srila
Thank you,
Prabhupada
Prabhuji.
ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhu, for wonderful class.
Sorry, Prabhuji, I was not prepared for this class. Sorry.
No, what do you mean not prepared? You spoke what Prabhupada spoke. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Very
Thank you,
grateful.
Prabhuji.
Thank you for your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.